This is Arkies in the Beltway, your look at national politics and the Arkansans influencing the discussions. I'm Alex Thomas, Washington correspondent for the Arkansas Democrat-Gazette, reporting from the nation's capital. Thank you for joining us for this episode of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of September 22nd, 2024. Capitol Hill will be a pressure cooker this week. The Senate and House of Representatives need to approve some sort of funding plan to avoid a government shutdown after September 30th. The House unable to pass a 6-month continuing resolution last week, Republican leaders coupled that language with a bill that would require identification to register to vote in federal elections. Representative French Hill of Little Rock following the House vote last Wednesday.
We have until midnight, September 30th, and time is of the essence.
Another issue involves trying to pass a new farm bill. Congress approves farm bills on a cycle, authorizing programs on nutrition assistance, rural development, and agriculture. Neither chamber has considered legislation as a full body to replace the standing 2018 law. Lawmakers were supposed to pass a new farm bill last fall, but Congress punted any action on an updated measure until this September. Senator John Boozman of Rogers is the ranking member of the Senate Agriculture, Nutrition, and Forestry Committee. He spoke on the Senate floor last Tuesday about the need for Congress to step up and act.
We must redouble our efforts to pass a farm bill before the end of the calendar year that meets this moment, one that provides the support our farmers desperately need to stay in business.
Boozman also urged Congress to approve short-term assistance for producers. The senator noting farmers are under increased financial pressure due in part to rising input costs and market prices not keeping up with expenses.
Coupled with consecutive years of losses, the financial stress borne particularly by our row crop farmers is now being revealed. The reality is there will be fewer farmers in 2025 if Congress does not respond.
Republicans on Capitol Hill pushing for a farm bill with improvements to the farm safety net, which are programs providing income assistance and insurance coverage to producers. Democrats expressing concerns about how GOP-backed provisions could affect nutrition programs such as SNAP and conservation efforts. The House Agriculture Committee passed its version of the Farm Bill back in May. Representative Rick Crawford of Jonesboro serves on that committee. Arkansas Governor Sarah Huckabee Sanders facing backlash for comments made about Vice President Kamala Harris. Sanders joined former President Donald Trump last Tuesday in Flint, Michigan for a town hall. The governor opened the event by talking about how being a mother to 3 children has changed her life.
So my kids keep me humble. Unfortunately, Kamala Harris doesn't have anything keeping her humble. You would think after 4 years of straight failure, she would know a little humility. Unfortunately, she doesn't.
Harris, whose first name is pronounced Kamala, does not have any biological children. She is the stepmother to 2 children through her marriage to second gentleman Doug Imhoff. Harris and Imhoff have been married for the last decade. Sanders' office telling the Democrat-Gazette the governor was referring to Harris's policies with her comments. During a Brooklyn fundraiser last Wednesday, Imhoff lumped Sanders' remarks with what he described as nonsense, distracting voters from other issues. The Democratic Party of Arkansas condemning the governor's comments, saying Sanders does not speak for Arkansas when she attacks women who do not have biological children. An upcoming event generating a tremendous amount of buzz on Capitol Hill, the installation of the Johnny Cash statue. The Cash statue joining the National Statuary Hall collection 4 months after the addition of a similar sculpture recognizing another Arkansan, that of civil rights leader Daisy Bates. The Cash statue will be located in the Capitol Visitor Center. Sculptor Kevin Cressy of Little Rock is the person behind the Cash statue. He acknowledges whatever his next project will be, it is going to be hard to top having a piece in the U.S. Capitol.
It's just such a random thing to happen. It could have easily not happened during my lifetime or during my career as an artist.
The installation of the Cash statue also marks an end of the multi-year journey to improve Arkansas's representation in the collection. Bates and Cash replaced Uriah Rose and James Paul Clark, respectively. The latter 2 Arkansans had their statues put on Capitol Hill more than a century ago. Former Governor Asa Hutchinson recalls giving tours of the Capitol during his time serving in the House, and the apathy about Rose and Clark's importance to Arkansas history.
They were not known figures. I tried to explain who Uriah Rose was, which is significant, a founder of the American Bar Association. you get a shrug of the shoulders, basically, and not a sense of pride. And I'm really excited about who's representing Arkansas.
States may contribute 2 statues to the Capitol's collection, but it requires action by state legislatures and governors. State Senator Dave Wallace and State Representative Jeff Wardlaw led the effort in Little Rock to recognize Bates and Cash in the nation's capital, with Arkansas lawmakers agreeing in April 2019 to make this change. Wardlaw says Cash is a great representation of the natural state.
In Arkansas, you may be born poor, but there's a way to get to the top, and Johnny Cash paved that way.
Cash was born in Kingsland in February 1932. When he was 3, his family moved to the community of Dyes, where they would farm the nearby land. Wallace thinks highly of Cash, having had a similar upbringing in the Mississippi Delta, picking cotton as a child.
Johnny Cash represents the common man in Arkansas.
Cash would release songs reaching immortal status among country music fans, such as Ring of Fire, I Walk the Line, and Folsom Prison Blues. The Country Music Hall of Fame, the Rock and Roll Hall of Fame, and the Gospel Music Hall of Fame have recognized Cash's contributions to music. Representative Crawford will speak at Tuesday's ceremony. Away from Capitol Hill, Crawford performs guitar and sings in the band Triple Nickel. He admits it's been a challenge preparing his remarks.
I don't want to be a fanboy over this deal, but I mean, the reality is it's Johnny Cash we're talking about here. I grew up listening to Johnny Cash and, just ran the needle through that record that, Live from San Quentin. That was my favorite thing, and listening to Boy Named Sue and, all that. And my parents would say, enough already, put something else on, and it was just because I would play it over and over again.
Shane Broadway leads Arkansas's National Statuary Hall Steering Committee. He hopes the Bates and Cash statues serve an important purpose beyond just representing Arkansas, saying he wants the statues to generate interest in the natural state to the millions of people who visit the Capitol each year.
Our hope is all of these visitors from all around the world who tour the U.S. Capitol will hear the Arkansas story of Daisy Bates and Johnny Cash, and it will make them want to come and learn more about them. Visit Daisy's home and museum, visit the Cash boyhood home in Dyess.
The Democrat-Gazette asked people about their favorite Johnny Cash songs. Broadway and Wallace picked Will the Circle Be Unbroken, originally a standard of the Carter family. Wardlaw favors I've Been Everywhere, and Hutchinson likes the song Get Rhythm. For Representative Steve Womack of Rogers, well, we'll let you guess.
I've memorized it, and I've known it for 55 plus years. Starts off with, well, my daddy left home when I was 3. He didn't leave much from on me, just this old guitar and an empty bottle of booze. Now, I don't blame him because he run and hid, but the meanest thing that he ever did was before he left, he went and named me Sue.
Womack will join Crawford and Senator Boozman in giving remarks on Tuesday. Governor Sanders will also make an appearance. Roseanne Cash, a musician in her own right, will speak on behalf of the Cash family. Back to the topic of Cash songs, Crawford spoke highly of A Boy Named Sue. Representative Bruce Westerman of Hot Springs struggled to pick just one song. Senator Tom Cotton of Little Rock named The Man Comes Around, a track on the final Cash album to be released during the musician's lifetime. Cressy has been returning to that same song more than ever as of late, noting Cash was experiencing a career resurgence under producer Rick Rubin when the song was released.
Right before Rick Rubin and the American Recordings came around, he's playing to a couple hundred people in Branson or something. So you never know, if you just stick with it, when these amazing things are going to happen in your life. And that's what's happened to me, as well as what happened to Johnny in the last chapter of his life.
The statue ceremony will take place Tuesday morning at 10 o'clock Central. The Democrat-Gazette will have coverage that day. But for now, that will do it for this edition of Arkies in the Beltway for the week of September 22nd, 2024. You can stay up to date with all news involving Arkansas at arkansasonline.com. You can get in touch with me on social media. My handle is @AlexHouseThomas. Special thanks as always to the team down in Little Rock. I'm Alex Thomas, and this has been Arkies in the Beltway. Thanks for listening.